Welcome back to our final show of Off the Boulevard. I'm your host, Jay Koner.
And I'm your host, Armana Hosseini, and we have a snow-packed show for you today. We have news with Emma and Riani, sports with Griffin and Sean, and finally, weather with Olivia.
It's going to be a good one. Stay tuned.
You're looking at this camera. Okay.
Welcome back. My name is Riani Harris.
And I'm Emma Starks, and here's your weekly news.
Nominations for the 60th Annual Grammy Awards were revealed early Tuesday morning. Many fans were pleased with the diversity in nominations this year. Despacito became the first Spanish-language song to be nominated for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Each lead artist nominated for Record of the Year is a person of color, and getting the most buzz is that for the first time since 1999, no white males were nominated for Album of the Year. The nominations for Album of the Year are Childish Gambino's Awaken My Love, Jay-Z's 444, Kendrick Lamar's Damn, Lord's Melodrama, and Bruno Mars's 24 Karat Magic. Hip-hop and R&B dominated, with Kendrick Lamar and Jay-Z leading with the most nominations this year. Cardi B received her first Grammy nomination for Best Rap Performance and Best Rap Song with her hit song Bodak Yellow, and many other hip-hop and R&B artists were nominated as well. If you're interested in seeing who takes home awards, tune into the Grammys broadcast live on CBS from Madison Square Garden in New York City on January 28th.
A former University of Kansas student must register as a sex offender for 15 years after being convicted of a misdemeanor sexual battery for groping a female friend who was in bed with him. On Tuesday, a jury of 6 found Hambit Chang guilty of 1 count of sexual battery. The incident occurred on September 3, 2016 in Chang's room in Oliver Hall on the KU campus. However, the victim reported it to KU police 4 months later. Chang was charged March 6 of this year. According to the testimony from the victim and other witnesses, the woman had come to KU from out of state to visit Chang and other close friends of hers from the same high school. After a night of drinking, Chang and the victim returned to his room where he groped her while she was pretending to be asleep. Once she moved, he stopped the groping. Unable to hold back her tears, she ran out of his room. Once she got back to her girlfriend's room, she was crying hysterically and told them what happened. And one friend went downstairs to testify and call the police. She went downstairs to the dorm lobby and reported the sexual assault to the university. Chang is no longer a KU student, according to a university directory.
One of KU's newest additions on campus is the Earth, Energy, and Environment Center. The $78.5 million building is the new home to KU's Geology Department and parts of the Chemical and Petroleum Engineering Department. Together, the departments hope to tackle ongoing emerging issues in oil and gas exploration, water quality and availability, and more. Hanging from the ceiling are fossil replicas of a mosasaur diving headfirst towards the Prostega, an early ancestor of the modern green sea turtles. Both skeletons lived millions of years ago and were found here in Kansas. The mosasaur was found in Logan County in 1911, and the Prostega was found near Quinter in 2011. The building is planned to be finished this weekend and will open up for classes in the spring semester. To learn more or to get updates about the brand new building, you can follow @KU Geology on Twitter.
Former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn pled guilty today to making false statements to the FBI. Court documents show Flynn will admit to lying to the FBI about his conversations during the transition period with Russia's ambassador to the United States. Flynn, who was interviewed by the FBI just days after Trump's inauguration, was forced to resign in February after White House officials said he had misled them about whether he had discussed sanctions with the ambassador. Flynn faces a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison, according to the federal sentencing guidelines, though the judge Friday morning stressed he could impose a harsher or lighter sentence. FBI Special Counsel Robert Mueller and his prosecuting team announced charges last month against 3 other Trump campaign officials, former Chairman Paul Manafort and his business associate Rick Gates, along with former foreign policy advisor George Papadopoulos.
Well, that's all the news we have for you guys this week. Stay tuned after the break.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Make someone's day. Pay it forward.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
Welcome back. This is Off the Boulevard Sports World Cup special presented by the Playmakers, and here we have Playmakers soccer expert Sean Goodwin. I am Griffin Hughes. So let's get right down to it, Sean. World Cup draw was this morning, so let's take a look at the groups. Starting with Group A, and Sean, this is the biggest story of the day. It's got to be.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you've got Russia, the host country, so the team in Group A, but it's not the strongest group, which is why my dark horse here is actually Egypt.
I agree with you. In Group B, Portugal, Spain, this was probably the biggest matchup. It's going to be the juggernauts of Spain against Ronaldo and Portugal, and those have to be your 2 favorites right now in this group.
Definitely, yeah. It's going to be a good matchup too. Group C, again, it's not the strongest group. France definitely the strongest team here. You've got Denmark and Australia, who are 2 okay teams. It'll be a struggle for second place.
Yeah, I would say look out for Peru and Australia, but definitely France, Denmark have to take our pick in Group C. Up into Group D, this, in my opinion, is the group of death because Iceland, don't underrate them, and obviously Croatia comes in with some excellent talent, in Nigeria as well. You have to look out for them.
Yeah, I think that as well. Very strong group. Group A, this is an interesting group actually. Brazil is the obvious choice to win here. But Switzerland and Costa Rica also 2 very good teams. Even Serbia, but we've seen good matchups in the past between Brazil and Costa Rica as well.
I absolutely agree with you. You always love those matchups between teams in the CONMEBOL CONCACAF region. They just play a different brand of soccer. Into Group F, speaking of a CONCACAF team that might make some noise here, it's Mexico. Germany obviously should get out of this group, but Mexico, you have to like them here.
Yeah, Germany are my winners of the whole World Cup. Germany, 2 teams play, Germany always wins.
We'll get to that later. But my winners, I guess to spoil here, Belgium, along with Panama, Tunisia, and England. So Sean, obviously you're English. What do you think about this group?
We should advance. It's England, so pessimistic. But yeah, we should advance.
And Group H, to me, this is a little bit weaker than I think people are giving it credit for. I like Senegal, I like Colombia, but Poland, outside of their superstar up top, you don't have much, and then Japan, you just don't know what they're bringing.
Yeah, as you mentioned, you've got Lewandowski, but they're a very weak Pot 1 team.
I absolutely agree with you. So that is the groups as they stand right now. The World Cup's set to take place in about 6 months. So let's get right now to our dark horses. And you mentioned Egypt, so that's going to be yours. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, in a pretty weak group, you've got Peru, who's a decent team, but Saudi Arabia and Russia, not the strongest teams. And then you've got Mo Salah, performing one of the best in the Premier League right now. People have been saying Egypt don't have the best defence, but you do have Higazi, plays for West Brom, solid defender.
So I can see him making it out of the group stage, and then it's just who they draw heading onwards.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I like Egypt. I like what they bring to the table. My dark horse is Iceland. I don't know if you can even count them as a dark horse anymore because of what they did in the Euro Championships, but my goodness, I mean, they've got, what they have that I like about them is a balanced attack. Obviously, you have Gylfi Sigurdsson, and that's going to be their best player. He's struggling right now with Everton, but he's got a lot of time to figure that out. But the balance that they have around him, the goal-scoring depth that they have in the Euro Championship, 3 players had 2+ goals. That is a big deal. Only 2 other teams had that in the entire Euro, so I like that depth coming in.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Euros knocked out England's upset, as it was called, but I say you've got Gylfi Sigurdsson, and I think he'll carry on. You've got unbelievably passionate fan base as well.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a good amount in Russia as well.
I love Iceland's fan base, and they took the time to travel to France, and Western Russia is only a hop, skip, and a jump away from there. So and we see just the passion that they have, and the fan base there. It's almost intimidating to play against them in my mind, because especially when you're scoring at the goal that they're standing on, and you just have this sea of blue, which is literally like 10% of the population of Iceland is bearing down right on top of you. It's exceptionally hard to deal with, I think, especially when you get down into maybe the free kicks, the penalties, the special teams, as it were, that need to be good in order to win the World Cup. It's hard to take them against Iceland.
Yeah, one of the coolest things with the Iceland fan base as well, if you guys haven't seen it, check out the thunderclap, as they call it.
Yep.
And they all clap at the same time. There was a scene.
Love the Viking clap.
Yeah, Viking clap, that's it.
Both, it could be both.
Yeah. There was a scene after the Euros, actually. It was like most of Iceland's population all clapping at once. It was amazing.
Absolutely.
Here it is now, actually, on the screen.
You gotta love it. You have to love the passion. So before we get on to the winners, I want to address something that both the Telegraph and BBC were bringing up earlier. It's the average UEFA coefficient, or I'm sorry, the FIFA coefficient of the groups, of each group in the World Cup. And this to me is interesting because it's not exactly how I thought it was going to turn out. We'll start with Group A. Not surprisingly, right at the bottom.
Yes, I mean, we mentioned it earlier, pretty weak group. The fact that Russia's in pot 1 just because of the host nation, England itself, is obviously going to bring it down.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Maybe there's cause to look at, do you put the host nation in pot 1? I don't know. That's a debate for another time, I suppose. I will say before we go any further, the FIFA coefficient is a little bit different. It works kind of weird. It savagely punishes teams that play lots of friendlies. Russia, having already qualified because they're the host nation, has not played a competitive match in 2 years. So they're lower on those rankings than they would actually, I guess, have cause to be. Still the weakest group in the World Cup.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about coefficients, but most of the teams in the World Cup do still tend to be in the top 50.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's still a very good team, so don't get us wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a big thing, don't want to harp about the US because they're not in it. But that was a big thing, how the US couldn't beat teams in the 100 to 200 range, never mind teams in the top 50.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's a team that, we were talking about earlier that's going to shake things up, that was outside the top 50 for most of the World Cup qualifying session. This is Egypt, and this is their match against Ghana. Ghana is a team that almost always makes the World Cup, and this is where Egypt, you see how they're dangerous. You see what they can do, and you see guys like Mo Salah, who can make big plays. And this is a big reason why they're now in the top 50 and competing with other World Cup worthy teams, and a big reason why they're your dark horse.
Yeah, I mean, it was the guy you mentioned, Mo Salah. I mean, for Liverpool right now, my team, 17 goals in 21 games, unbelievable. But, just the pace that he offers going forwards. And African teams tend to be very pacey anyways.
Yes.
Which is a big advantage for them. So, when you're coming up against some of the older defences in the World Cup, that's going to be a huge advantage going forward.
Absolutely. And in this match, which I watched between Egypt and Ghana, the way that they were able to shut down guys like Asamoah Gyan and that have so much pace on the wing, that's going to help them a lot, especially given the group that they're in. So let's not delay this any longer. Let's talk World Cup winner. And for you, it may not be that much of a surprise. Tell me about it.
It's Germany. It's Germany. They're a perfectly just well-oiled machine. Like everything that they can do right, they do right. It's the old saying, as I said earlier: 2 teams play a game of soccer and Germany wins.
It's hard to argue with that. Mine, as you can see, Belgium. It's almost against my better judgment to say that, but back in 2014, I said Belgium is going to win it in 2018, and I'll give you this. Their top line, when you got guys like Romelu Lukaku, Christian Benteke, Dries Mertens, all right, and then of course the maestro, Kevin De Bruyne, who at times looks more like John Williams in the orchestra more than he does a soccer player. This kid is an absolute freak, and then of course you have Eden Hazard. And then on your defense, you can get Vermaelen, Vertonghen, and the X Factor Vincent Kompany. If Kompany is healthy, I don't see any team in the world being able to beat this team. You talk about a well-oiled machine. Belgium is less a well-oiled machine than like a rocket ship. Sometimes it's not going to go, but when it goes, it's better than anyone. And that's why I love Belgium. I love their attacking pieces. But all in all, this is going to be a fantastic World Cup. And I know some people may be a little bit underwhelmed by some of the group stage matches and the scheduling, but the fact that you have matches like Spain and Portugal are the last match in that group, and England and Iceland are the second match in that group, and I think they're the second match. And that, to me, it just makes for a fun World Cup group stage.
Yeah, it's definitely, as I said, the big games are last, so, you know, get, I guess, less hype games out of the way early. And it's kind of like a crunch match games later in the group, but I'm definitely looking forward to this World Cup. As an England fan, not so much, because, I mean, we'll probably go out in a group stage anyway. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, as a U.S. fan, I just get to watch and enjoy the World Cup and enjoy the best soccer on the planet. Make no mistake. World Cup kicks off in June. We'll go into the middle of July. It's part of a stacked couple months along with the Champions League final. You know we'll be watching, and I hope everyone else is too. Coming up next, we've got weather with Olivia Jones, and a quick shout out to our boy Armand. His guys, Iran, they picked up a tough group. So everyone pray for Armand. We'll be right back with weather.
When you shop local in the heart of the city, you support the people that make our community thrive. The money you spend here stays here, in this place we call our home. Lawrence, Kansas, where there's good old-fashioned hometown pride. Eat local, drink local, shop local.
Welcome back to Off the Boulevard. I'm Olivia Jones, and here's your forecast. Right now it is 55 degrees up here on the hill, and it also feels like 55 because we only have a light breeze coming in from the southwest at 7 miles per hour. And if you want to look at these current temperatures across the board, you can see that our highest temperature is 57 in Manhattan. Today our high is 61 degrees. And it'll stay sunny, and we'll continue to have those mild winds. Now, looking at the almanac, the average today is the average for today is 47 degrees, but our high will be 61, and that's almost closer to the record. It's only 7 degrees off the record, but 14 off the average temperature. And now going into this weekend and the rest of the week. So we'll have a nice warm up on Sunday for our high at 68, but we'll cool down as that cold front pushes through, and our high will be 50 degrees. And what we're all thinking about is Christmas. Now, it's a little too early to forecast the exact temperatures that we are expected to have for Christmas, but these are the average high and low temperatures for that time of year in Lawrence. So the average on the 23rd and 24th is 40 degrees with the low at 21. The 25th is a lot like it at 39, with the low still being at 21 degrees. And that'll wrap up the weather. Stay tuned for our next segment.
Yeah, I always just clap in this part.
This is where everyone's talking amongst themselves. Do you know how to do it? Do you know how to do it?
Are we supposed to smile?
When do we start? Somebody over here already started.
Can we talk about the piccolo part? It's the most complicated one.
It is. If you listen, you're doing it when the band's not playing.
You have to tell me when it starts. I still don't know.
Here we go.
Just clapping now.
No humps.
Nailed it.
I practiced this morning.
Mine was just two people.
It has a right and a wrong way of doing it. No. Wrong.
I like my way better.
I don't know how to
1,
do
2,
the
3,
end.
4.
It's just.
I don't know the
Sorry.
head.
It's hard by yourself.
Thank you for tuning in to Off the Boulevard today. And sadly, that was our last show of the semester.
Also, special shout out to executive producer Isabella Kangemi. She has been the best executive producer ever. You'll be gone but not forgotten, Isabella. It's been a great show. We had Maddie, we had Olivia, we had Brianna, we had Emma, Nick, Marcette, Jake, Armand, your boy Jake. Let's go. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Hanukkah.
Happy holidays.
Woo!